Hi, I'm Chris from homeCode. I remember going in to teach ancient Egypt with a group of grade 5s and seeing that in the class I was teaching, there was still the same textbook that I used when I was in grade 5, when I learned it. Now, that's not to say that history has suddenly changed, but we've got a lot more to use now in order to explore ancient Egypt. We can even explore it on Google Earth. And that was always one of my favorite things to do with my classes. And man, they would discover the most amazing things. So in this lesson, we'll be making our very own hieroglyphics translator. We'll be able to type in our name or a word and then have it print out the hieroglyphics. It's a super fun one that makes use of a lot of great functionality in Scratch. So if you want a full lesson plan with the printouts, outcomes, and thinking routines, then please do head over to my teacher marketplace, link in the description below. Very quickly as well, if you're a parent or a teacher, then please hang on to the very end of the video because I've got a Younameit course that I've made just for you and I want to tell you a bit about it. Here we go. So I've gone to scratch.mit.edu. I went to my stuff because I signed in, and here's an example of what we are going to make. Now I did a few little extra things, added effects. We won't do that, but you can always come to this project and see what it's all about. So we start off by clicking go, then our skeleton, who I thought could be a good representation of a mummy, asks, what is your name or what do you want to translate? I type my name in and then there we go. It says cool, right? And printed, and it even changes the color for each and every one. Okay, so let's go to create to start our very own new one. And for this one, you're welcome to change the sprite, but I'm just going to keep mine as the cat. Now let's just quickly look at what we want to do. You're not going to be doing this. This is just for us to take some notes. So we want to have our sprite ask a question, and we are going to use that answer. So then the user has input, then takes each question, takes each letter and puts it in a list, then use that list and have it change the letter into a symbol and then stamp that symbol and move over a little bit so that we can see absolutely all of it. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for. That's what we want to do. Okay, let's come back over here. So first thing that we want is for our sprite to ask a question. So in order for anything to happen, we need an event. An event tells us when certain code should run. So notice I've got my cat sprite selected over here. I'm going to go over to events and choose the when the green flag clicked event. So any code that I attach to here is going to run when I click the green flag, which obviously now doesn't do anything because we've got nothing attached to it. Okay, so what we want to happen is to ask, what's your name? So into sensing, ask, what's your name? And wait. Now, if I type something in there now, then it doesn't do anything with it. It has actually stored it in this variable. Now, a variable is like a container, something that you can just store information in and then take it out and change it and mess around with it. We're going to be using a different type of variable now, one that is called a list. Okay, so we're going to ask, what's your name? And wait. Now we want to create a list over here. So you go to variables and make a list. Let's call this list letter in Word. Now you can obviously type this how you want, but if you're going to get onto different kinds of coding, then I recommend that you start using this just as one word because that's the convention and necessary in other types of coding. So we'll have letter in Word. I know I spelled it wrong. Letter in Word. And there you can see popping in over here. And now what this has is nothing at the moment, but we're able to store information in there, store numbers, and we can see there's the length of it. See, it's got 4 items inside here, which I can go ahead and delete. We're not going to be using it like that, but what we are going to say is as we start our program, we want to get rid of anything that is stored in there so that we don't accidentally have strange things sort of show up. So we got that. That's where we're going to be storing all of our letters inside. Now we need something that keeps track of which letter we are on. So to do that, we're going to make a variable. Let's call this one letters. And there we have, it's created, and now we can set its value. So give it a value. We'll start it at 1 because we want to start when we eventually get the answer. We want to start at the very first letter. Okay, so now we've got delete all of that, ask that. We want something to repeat. We want to, it's called iterating through this array. Well, first we need to create the list, or the array is how you also might hear it. So to do that, let's go to control over here, and I'm going to drag a repeat block in here. Now, any code that we put inside here will repeat as many times as we put, it could repeat that many times if we really wanted it to. But we want it to repeat as many times as there are letters in the answer. Okay, so this is going to seem a little bit complicated, but it's what's nice about Scratch is it just kind of makes logical sense. So we're going to go over to operators over here, and under operators we've got a little function over here that checks the length of, at the moment it says apple, but we wanted to check the length of answer. We're able to just drop that in there, see how it highlights. We drop it length of answer. So we want this, all the code inside here, to repeat for the length of the answer. So if our answer is, or our name is 10 letters, then this will repeat 10 times, and it'll change depending on who types in there. Okay, now what we're going to do, this is the complicated part. This is, I think, probably the most complicated part. Stick with me. It is going to make sense when we read it out together. So we want to insert a letter from into a position over here in our list from answer at the position of letters, which we're going to increase every time. I know that made very little sense right now, but let's do it, and then you'll see how it works. So we're going to go to variables again. We're going to come down to our list functions over here, and we're going to say insert. So if we just ran this, it would insert thing at position 1 of letter in word, and it would do that as many times as we've got letters in our answer. But we don't want it to do that. We want it to do it a specific amount of times. So here under operators, again, we've got just such handy functions over here. We're going to be looking for the one that says letter number of whatever we have over here. So we want to do it letter, whichever value this is. So letters of answer, which you can see at the moment, if we just drag this in, be letters. So letter, the first letter of, and then we want our answer. So this is letter 1 of answer, which if it was my name, Chris, then it would be C. So I'm going to insert letters of answer at 1. We don't want it just at 1. We want it to be changing every time that we change letters as well. So now this is just going to keep on doing the exact same one. So what we can do, and this is a neat little trick, is that we change letters by 1. So each time it runs through, so change letters by 1. So the first time that it does it, letters is 1 already. So it inserts the letter 1 of answer that the person has typed in, our user has typed in, at letters, that's position 1 of letter in word. Then change letters by 1. So it comes back to the repeat loop if there's more than one letter. And it checks, have we finished? Have we repeated this amount of times? No. Okay. So insert letter 2 of answer at 2 of letter in word. Change letter by 1, that's 3, and then it repeats, and it just keeps on going. Let's see if that works so far. So if we type that in, Chris, let's see. And there we have it. So it's put CHRIS, and it tells us that the length is 5. That's how many times it has repeated. And the value of letters over here, because we kept changing it by 1, is now 6, because it ran through it 5 times. Changed this by 1. So, okay, we've reached the length of our answer. We don't need to go on anymore. Great. Now we actually need to do something with this. So in order to do that, we need to add in our sprite. So what you're going to do is go and look for an image that has hieroglyphics in it. I found this one, and this one's really, really great. I recommend this one where you can download the SVG. Now that is a vector kind of graphic, which means that we're able to just select large portions of this and just delete it quite easily. Okay, so you'll download it. Once you've downloaded it, then you can come over to here to choose a sprite, and then you choose upload sprites, and then you can look for it. There, mine is there already. So I could upload that one, but I have already done it and I want to show you what the finished product looks like. So I've actually stored this in my backpack, which is another great perk of signing in, making sure that you have created a profile. And here mine is stored in here. And now what I can do from my backpack is just drag it across into here. I'm going to show you how I eventually got to this. Don't worry about all of this code. I'm actually going to delete all of that because we'll be doing that together. So if I've uploaded this, then I made sure that I've got it selected. And then you'll see under costumes, you're going to start off with just this, which I'm going to make sure that I can see absolutely all of it. You can see I've got a master over here. And then what you're going to do to extract each of these and give them their own costume. Think of these as frames in an animation. So to do that, I'm going to right click my master, make sure that you always have one master one over here, the main one. Yours is going to be named something different. I named it master just so that I could track it down nice and easily. Then you right click it and click duplicate. It makes another one over there, and then making sure we've got our arrow selected over here, we can drag across everything that we don't want, and then it selects it, and then you just push delete, and then it's gone. So then you do that. So for example, if we were doing A over here on this one, then I can delete that, and then I drag my symbol here to the very center of that crosshair over there. And then up here is where I change its name. Now you'll see the naming convention that I've stuck to, which is going to be really important for the way that we do it over here. I'm actually going to delete that one and just show you how I did it for Z. So Z over here, you can see I've typed in as its costume name. What I've also done, in case people do put in capital letters like I have done, is you actually duplicate each and every one of these letters. So I took Z and I right clicked and I duplicated it, and then I gave that one the name of capital Z, because we're going to have this sprite look at the letter in each word, and then the letter in the word in the answer over here, and then match this up with a costume name, and then change to that costume name, stamp it, and then we'll see the resulting answer over there. Okay, so let's have a look at what we can do over here. At the moment, we need to know when this information is ready. So to do that, we're going to come back to our sprite, and we are going to send a message, or broadcast a message. And here under events, we've got broadcast message. Now let's just leave it as broadcast message 1, but you can create a new message and name it whatever you'd like. I know for mine, I named it translate or something like that. But we've only got one message, so it's actually quite easy to keep track of. So when this is all done, when letter in word is stored up in there, then send a message, broadcast a message. In the background, we won't see it. And then when this receives that message, I can see we can't see it at the moment. I've just made it invisible, which you can do. It's going to be helpful along the way. So just make sure you have it selected and click don't see, or see, don't see. So we want the event when I receive message 1. So only when I receive message 1, then we're going to start doing stuff. Okay, I don't want to see letter and word and letters anymore. So I'm going to come over to variables quickly, and I'm going to untick those so we don't see those. They're stored in the background. We don't really need to see them. Okay. So we've got our sprite selected over here, and what we want is to reset letters, because we're going to be using that again. So set letters to 1 once again. Let's grab a repeat block, which is going to once again repeat the length of letters, however many letters we have in our list now. Actually, let me just show this again. To repeat as many letters as we have in here. So to do that, we can use this over here. We don't need to create a whole new one. We've got length of letter in word. So if there are 20 in here, then 20 letters in here in our original answer, then this would repeat 20 times. Okay. Now, what we want to happen is to have our sprite change to the costume that correlates with the letter. So to do that, let's go to looks over here where we're able to switch costumes, and we're going to say switch costume to, well, we need to find the item in here of our letter in word. We want it to change to the costume that we have over here, which is, I hope you can start to see already a little bit why we named it like this. So it's going to look for, we'll have it look for Z, for example, or in this case, let's use that one that's actually there. We'll look for C, capital C over there. So look for that one, and then change the costume to that. And we're going to do something with it in a moment. So let's go to here again, item number whichever we need to choose over here, item letters. So let's grab this variable again because we are going to have it. So grab the first letter of letter in Word, C, and switch to that costume. Okay, now we need to actually do something with that. For that, we're going to add in a special extension over here. Mine's added in already because I dragged in this previous block from my backpack. So to do that, click on here, it says add extension. We've got lots of different ones over here. You're going to choose pen, which I've already added in. So I'm going to say from here, this is where we can draw, write, stamp. You'll see what we do with stamp is whenever it changes the costume, then it just stamps it on there. It doesn't create a whole new sprite. So it doesn't get all clogged up with that. So I'm going to say, as we start, whenever we receive the message, erase the previous message so that we're not just kind of stamping over and over and over. Then we'll have switch costume to item letters of letter in Word. As soon as you've changed to that, then stamp it. Let's see what that does so far. What's your name? Apparently it's Horace. And there we've got it, and it's actually stamped it. But it's stamped it all over each other, all in the same place. So we want our letters, that's not changing. So it's only doing the first one of this one and just doing that 4 times. We want to make sure that letters actually changes by 1 each time. So let's make sure that letters changes by 1. Let's try that again. This time I'll spell my name correctly. And there we can see it all stamps all on top of each other. So let's have it move over a little bit each time. So I've gone to motion and I've grabbed move 10 steps. You could change the X value if you wanted as well. I'm just going to use this because it's nice and easy to understand. And I'll choose 35 steps because I think that's just going to work nicely. So again, make sure that you have that invisible. Otherwise, you're always going to be showing one random letter along the way. Now let's see if that works. What's your name? In case you don't know yet, there we go. And it prints it out nicely. And that's basically how it looks. A lot of other fun things that you can do if you look at my original project. Please make sure that you share yours and then drop in my comments that you have done that. I would really, really like to see what you have made. I enjoyed that one. But I actually found that some of the stuff we were doing is a bit easier with typed out coding like JavaScript or Python. But either way, the logic is exactly the same. So I've put together a Udemy course for parents and teachers who want to use coding in their teaching, but they don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of money on a subscription service or new devices and all sorts of fancy things. So in this course, I take you through a foundation and why we have to teach coding, how to understand the fundamentals with movement based on games, and then using free tools to integrate coding into any lesson that you are teaching. You can click on the link in the description below to see more and buy it. Or if you'd like to see if there's a coupon that you could use, then please email me at chris@homecode.co.za or drop a comment below. Thanks and keep exploring.